Dang, Chico, why you so bullish? Well, that might have been what some of you were saying after Monday's 2021 100K video. Well, here we look at both sides of the coin. Dang, Chico, why you so bearish? Let me tell ya, 'cause it's time for Chico Crypto. So first, bullish. Well, things are looking tasty for Bitcoin and some of the big US players at the top. The Coinbase IPO, from what I can see, is in the green light from the SEC. Elad Roisman is in and Clayton is out. And Elad, just days before his appointment to chairman, was supporting the New York Stock Exchange rule change for direct listings, which is obviously for the planned early 2021 Coinbase IPO. But Elad, he was appointed by the Trumpster. He was one of the 4 commissioners of the SEC who could have taken the spot of Clayton. The others, Hester Pierce, Republican, Allison Lee, Democrat, and Caroline Crenshaw, Democrat. Thus, when Joe presumably takes office January 20th, one of the Democrat commissioners may be appointed, taking Elad's spot. Allison Lee or Caroline Crenshaw, while the search for a new commissioner begins by Joe, or he picks one of the current commissioners and they end up with the chairman spot. So do these 4 commissioners share the same views? Will there be much shakeup at the SEC with the transition? Well, the 2 Democrats, Crenshaw and Lee, put out their own statement on direct listings besides Elad's. And yes, we can see the commission approved this for the NYSE, but also from Crenshaw and Lee. At the bottom, they say regarding the NYSE's specific rule. Unfortunately, the rule fails to address very real concerns regarding protections for investors. As a result, we are unable to support this specific approach, and they list their concerns below. So the transition, the 20th, is in just 22 days, and we may have a new temporary chairman who isn't a fan of this direct listing process. So will they be able to flip the switch and stop this rule change before it gets started? Well, Bloomberg covered this rule change when it happened last week in an article titled "Silicon Valley Wins as SEC Allows New Direct Listings," and they said this: getting the rule done under SEC Chairman Jay Clayton, who was appointed by President Donald Trump, might prove important for the exchange and Silicon Valley. That's because there's no guarantee an SEC chief picked by President-elect Joe Biden would approve NYSE's proposal. Well, the rule passed, so it doesn't look like it, and a new rule would have to be constructed and passed by the new chief and commission, which would take some time. And like I showed on Monday, Coinbase is looking to do it most likely early 2021. So methinks this was pushed through with a purpose. That is not necessarily bearish, Chico, so what the freak is? Well, there is a slight possibility that the house of cards I've been covering for a long time could get harder than some want to believe. I'm talking about Tether USDT. So we should all know the New York AG's case is still ongoing against those in charge of the dark stablecoin. But there was something else that came out right before Christmas that could have implications for USDT. The Treasury released a statement titled "President's Working Group on Financial Markets releases statement on key regulatory and supervisory issues relevant to certain stablecoins." Yes, certain, and this certain part of the statement is important. Depending on its design and other factors, a stablecoin may constitute a security, commodity, or derivative subject to U.S. federal securities, commodity, and or derivative laws. If so, the federal securities laws and or the Commodity Exchange Act, CEA, would govern the stablecoin itself, transactions in and or participants involved in the stablecoin arrangement. So what that means is the DOJ, Department of Justice, has ruled a stablecoin can be found a security. It's possible now for something like Tether to be ruled a security, and the issuers of it, Bitfinex, Bitfinex, and others, could face a lawsuit like XRP did from the SEC. So what would happen if Tether USDT was ruled a security? Well, you see how those exchanges delisted XRP? The same thing would happen. All exchanges would delist and stop the trading of USDT. That wouldn't be good for this run. It's no coincidence that since September, the supply of Tether has grown by 54%, from 13.5 billion to over 20.8 billion. That's an average growth of 1.8 billion per month, beginning in September. And here is a Twitter influencer, Andrew Rennhack, who understands what's going on with the markets. Give him a follow. His profile is in the description. November 29th, when BTC was under the 20K level, looking like it would not break, he tweeted this: "The Bitfinex BTC USDT premium got arbed away. The spread is only a few dollars now. Tether is back to parity and printing 600 million a week. I hate to say it, but this is bullish. BTC is currently 18.3K, probably headed for all-time high. 25K BTC this month would not surprise me at all." Well, he was pretty spot on with that, wouldn't you say? And he followed that tweet up with this on Christmas Day, a picture of the USDT supply, of which Bitfinex retweeted, and he said, "I told you 25K was coming this month. 30K is probably coming next month. As long as Tether keeps printing 100 million per day and the peg holds, BTC is going higher. Not from legitimate demand, but from fraud. This all collapses when the peg breaks." That 'tis bearish. That would take the wind right out of this 100K Bitcoin run. So the big question is, what's going to collapse that peg? Would it be something like the regulators, the SEC, coming for Tether in 2021? Well, methinks what's happening with the AG right now, the gathering of the evidence, ties right into what the DOJ just did. December 9th, the last thing we heard regarding the AG's case was this from Attorney James. She said the evidence documentation handover could be finalized in the coming weeks. And the deadlines for each to voice their positions post-document handover for the AG and Bitfinex was extended, but it will be coming next year, early January 15th, or just 17 days away. Now, depending on what Tether did, how they acted, which the evidence will show, Tether could face a whirlwind of other lawsuits, as it could fit right into the basket of a stablecoin security. If you haven't noticed, Tether, in the face of the New York regulators, hasn't stopped what they are doing. Business is running per usual as per what's going on. But in the face of the SEC, it's not up to Tether to shut down business. The industry shuts them out. Just like XRP is getting delisted from exchange after exchange, Tether would too. The lifeline of the crypto markets would be killed, not from the inside out, but from the outside in. For example, you had Coinbase suspiciously decide to announce they would be suspending the trading of XRP next month, even before anything was set in stone. XRP isn't ruled a security yet, and what's super weird to me, even Chinese exchanges, who have nothing to do with the US, decided to suspend trading. A kill shot that XRP could do nothing about from the outside. So things are getting weird. On one hand, you clearly have the SEC preparing Coinbase for its IPO. Then on the other hand, you have the SEC going after XRP and possibly down the road stablecoins like Tether. There's only two things that could make sense to me. Coinbase knows Tether has been propping up the Bitcoin market, and they're trying to pull off the IPO, unloading their shares through direct listing before the Tether plug is pulled and the entire markets go down. Or Coinbase is getting prepared to take over the crypto markets with the probable Tether kill shot and when the dust settles. As Coinbase is the only one in a position to do just that, with the second most dominant stablecoin, USDC, who already plays nice with the regulators, fulfilling any of their requests. So I've come to realize without Tether, it's very unlikely 100K is hit in 2021. But with Tether operating per normal, it's very possible. Monday's video was made in the light of Tether operating as it has since March of this year. This one was made in the light of Tether having trouble with the SEC next year. And right now it's way too early to call if Tether will have any of those troubles. But like always, I'll be attempting to bring you the latest, greatest, both sides of the coin. And we get a Tether update January 15th. Cheers. I'll see you next time.